August 4th, we're live. Hey, Dustin, you have some cool updates. What's happening?
So, good to see you as always. Happy Tuesday. You know, it's election day in a lot of places. Michigan, Wisconsin, I think Missouri. Is it Missouri or Missouri? Even the Missourians don't know. Do you know that?
No, I saw Wisconsin socialist girl cancel Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so, you know what's funny?
What?
I read an article, I think yesterday or the day before, that was, I think it was a Huffington Post article, which was comparing the rise of like the commies, the DSA, the Democrat Socialists of America, to the Tea Party. And it's not entirely wrong. Like today, for example, in Michigan, there's a candidate, Abdul El Sayed, who is running for the Senate. So it's a statewide race. $90 million by AIPAC and other interest groups in opposition spending against him. And he's getting, I think, Kaushi and Polymarket have him at like 98 and 97% respectively to win, despite all that spending.
Wow.
And I had this meeting this week with a donor who's almost certainly part of that 90 million, spends tens of millions of dollars every election cycle on politics. And it's funny, I went through the whole spiel of okay, listen, we're spending $90 million and we're losing to this dude. But the reason that they're losing is the $90 million is being spent the way that it's been spent on campaigns for the last 50 years. They're spending it on network and cable television ad buys. They're spending it on mailers. They're spending it on ways that don't reach people that matter. Now, yesterday, the lead article on Breitbart is how El Sayed was closing out his campaign with a content creator pool party that had all of these people at it who are not normal political people like Hassan Piker. And I don't think people realize, the 90 million is evidence of this. If you think that anybody who is winnable is watching network or cable television anymore, you're out of your mind. Everything is streaming. Everything is short video clips. Everything is Instagram and TikTok and X and Facebook and whatever else. There's no one, I don't know, I can't tell you a single person in my age group. I'm not some young kid anymore like I was with the Tea Party, right? Where I was the young Republican whiz kid or whatever. I'm in my mid-40s. I can't tell you a single person in my peer group who regularly watches cable or network news. None of them.
Well, it's interesting you brought that up because I was reading that story recently around, I was like, is this actually true? Around Morocco blaming the migration influx to what exactly happened? There was some posts on social media that the border's open, and then 60,000 migrants came and showed up.
Yeah, so this is Spain. So what's up, Swing Hammer? We're gonna talk Second Amendment too. Bowman, don't lie, bro. You're not watching Fox News. You're not using your big ass brain with that. I know what's happening here. So
that was Bowman at your event. Hey, Bowman.
Yeah. Listen, Charles is one of the coolest people ever. One of my favorites. But what's crazy is I got all excited by Swinghammer and Bowman. Now I'm all distracted. The what they're doing, and Spencer Pratt is the only person I really see on the right who's doing this well. You
Hmm.
have to reach people in a different way. Like you have to Fox News, right? Are the 70, 80, 90-year olds who they're going to vote how they're going to vote. Oh, we're talking about Spain. Um,
Look at
60,000.
all these people.
Look at these pictures. So they're just coming, like all these migrants are coming out of the sea. 60,000 plus showed up out of the blue. Now, they're saying that there were social media posts that were telling people that this was like an access point, that there was um, onto like mainland Europe. I want to say this is in North Africa, near Morocco, on like a Spanish enclave. Um, but just absolute madness. This is why you have to have borders. This is why we built the border wall. It's crazy.
So,
And,
is
and
this
then
true?
they come up and, what's that?
Is this true? Do you think that this actually happened
Oh,
from
this
like
yeah,
a
no,
couple
this really,
social posts?
yeah. So there were some social media posts that kind of like went viral or were boosted on TikTok, like in that part of Africa, that like told people basically like they're giving away free shit and the border's wide open and you get access to mainland Europe. The thing is, once you get access to mainland Europe, there's all the socialist welfare state is there to take care of you. And people just started going in droves. And then it becomes a self fulfilling thing because now a bunch of these people are making TikTok and Instagram videos about preparing for the journey and how they're going to go. And people start seeing the big numbers behind it. It's
Yeah.
it's funny when we did the Tea Party movement. It was right as I'm coming up on the when I'm going to be allowed to talk about some of this stuff, which will be cool. Um,
We'll
it was
bookmark that then.
it was right after the Arab Spring, right, where the government, it started in Tunisia. Actually, it started in Iran with the Green Revolution, which the brutal Iranian government stomped out. And
Hmm.
then there was an uprising in Tunisia, and then that led to Egypt, which was by far the biggest of the like long time hardline Islamic regimes that was overthrown. Um, and in its place is one of my homies, El Sisi in Egypt, who is like probably the most reasonable, in my opinion, one of the most reasonable leaders in the Middle East. But that all happened because social media was emerging and was organized overwhelmingly on social media. Same thing is happening, like what you're seeing in Spain, but the same thing is happening. So these commies, the Mandamis, El Sayed, Hong in Wisconsin, there's a whole and there's one more, I think, in Michigan's 7th district, who's also right. They're expecting will win tonight. I think his name. He's got some like boring name like Lawrence or Johnson or some shit. Um, but these Democrat socialists, it's not so much that people are overwhelmingly embracing the fact that they're commies. It's that they're actually reaching because traditional media is denied to them. They've had to like be creative with how they reach people. And I thought yesterday's Breitbart article was the perfect encapsulation of this, which is and my friend Perry Johnson, who's running for governor, I think in New York, in Michigan, he's spending $30 million on network ad buys. Like he's doing a huge TV purchase. He's independently rich.
Oh my
What
gosh.
Syed is doing is literally throwing a pool party with a bunch of content creators. I guarantee you that will have more impact than probably the whole $90 million that the establishment donors are spending. It's crazy. So it's an incredible time to be alive. But listen, if you want to stop the anti-Semite commies, you better learn to spend your money different. I had this meeting with this donor, again, tens of millions. And it's funny because at the end of the meeting, right, one of the things that he offered in order to help was an introduction to his media buyers. I don't need your fucking media buyers. Like, I don't want to buy network and cable television ads. In fact, I would not waste one effing penny on that stuff. I just wouldn't. So it's an interesting change in dynamics. Same thing as the Tea Party. We took advantage of all of these new mediums to creatively reach people in new ways. And that allowed us to build the Tea Party movement and surprise people. The Democrat Socialists are doing it right now incredibly effectively. Mandami, AOC, they are exceptionally good at reaching people where they are. And as a result, they have a vacuum on messaging. Like, no one from the traditional political realm is doing anything to try to talk to these people. What's up, Drew?
Hey, how you doing? I just caught the end of that. You know, I actually I catered for Mamdani. My restaurant catered for him for the FIFA events. It was a very interesting event. I'll leave it like that. But I will say this much: the socialists don't actually. It's all manufactured. The whole thing, everything they do, it's all manufactured social media engagement. If you look at like the people who engage with them the most, they're like either from the Middle East or Asia, and specifically, you know, Islam or socialist adjacent countries specifically. And most of it's like clickbait type farms. So that's part of the reason why. So they promote themselves in the algorithm, and then they're in your front page, and then they manufacture the protests. There's several organizations that literally just pay for everything. And then you see that the people at the protests are this literal same people at every single protest because they're paid to be there. So I'm not 100% sold on it, but again, it's kind of goes back to like the theory of the war for independence against the British Empire, which was, you know, 5% of the population were actually involved with everything. Everyone else was kind of just sitting on the sidelines, just letting things happen.
Well, so you're 100% right on the artificial boosting. And by the way, I noticed this with streamers, Sneeko and Neon, right? Like, they are promoting the same things that the Qataris have been paying people to promote for a long time.
Yeah.
Right, other Middle Eastern countries. But the dynamic is, I don't believe it's why the 90 million against El Sayed just fell flat, is that no one's watching cable news. You're not reaching anyone that way. I agree on the manufacturer. Are you gonna like save money at the Mandami marts? You visit your social, like I saw that's the other thing out of New York today.
Well, that's to be determined on, you know, how long the bread line is going to be, but I don't know. I mean, 30% savings is an interesting concept. Let's see how much it holds up compared to Aldi's and Costco and all the other grocery stores. And if it actually does end up being that there are real savings involved, because the thing is, I'll say this, the people I've met in the bureaucratic institutions of New York City, they have interesting ways to do math, interesting ways to calculate things. Yeah, you know, it's the whole concept of things just to them is, you know, you print more money and magically things get produced.
Yeah, the Vox article I shared today was really good on this, which is the issue is if there really is 30% savings, then it's going to sell out extremely quickly because people do need like grocery help, like prices. There's no way inflation is anywhere near the numbers they're telling us it is. Everything.
No, it's over accelerated. I mean, if inflation, once Joe Biden took office and Trump did the stimulus, which started off this kick that we have, it's a never-ending death cycle of just accelerated pricing. So, you know, whether you're like Democrats or Republicans, you know, it happened under both, and at alarming rates too.
But if it is cheaper, then they're going to sell out more, which means they're going to have to spend more, and they're not being more efficient is the issue. Which is
you can't be more efficient if you're giving something at a loss. Basically, they're operating at a marginal loss, which means you can't actually make that money back and you're just going to be relying on the taxpayer. And then the New York City tax base itself, like 45% of it's 100,000 people. So imagine if 10,000 of those people leave. Now you're creating a house of cards, basically.
A bunch of them are leaving. I saw a couple of my friends planning on leaving. It wasn't Casamatides. There was a couple others. Ken Griffin, I think. Anyway, people are fleeing. They're just not going to accept it. And if they're not fleeing the state, they're fleeing New York City because they don't want to be taxed to death. So we'll see.
I don't disagree with their strategies. I mean, I have certain situations set up in a way where, it is what it is, and I'll say it like that.
So you're in New York?
I am in New York.
What do you think of Bruce Blakeman?
I'm voting for him. I don't like Kathy Hochul at all. She's a joke. She's a literal joke, and she's not a real moderate. She's just basically she doesn't actually have any positions that she actually stands on. If you really think about it, I mean, she said that she would send over the $5 billion based on the fact that we would have more security for the transit system, and instead they found a way to not increase any of our police force, whether you like police or don't like police. But if the deal is the deal, and they were backtracked on that, and she still sent them the money, then where does she actually stand? She just stands to basically become governor again, so that she can continue making a check for herself, and gives the bills a bunch of money. I mean, that was the joke of the century.
So, well, I'm glad to hear that, because Hochul really is like legendarily awful. But it's hardly a ringing endorsement of Blakeman. And like I was trying to figure out how to send this to Dana. Like I was looking at Blakeman's campaign website earlier.
Sharing an article?
No, he's very much like a traditional politician, I think. But
yeah, he's like a 90s Democrat from all policies perspective. If you look at everything, he's like Rudy Giuliani, basically.
I think he'd do a good job. I'm trying to like help make him a little cooler so that like we can help. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you an example. This is a real life example that like I was looking over his website. Did you get it, Dana?
Yeah, I got it.
So I was looking over his website. This is from the like headline video on his campaign website. And my criticism of it is that where did anybody think about what your backdrop, like what the visual of this ad is going to look like? Because this looks like a place that like I envision a bunch of old ladies having tea together. Like, I want you to project masculine leadership energy. This backdrop should have been in a boardroom. It should have been at a speaker's podium, something that projects like real leadership. If you were going for the like, oh, well, I'm like the rest of you and I'm at home, then you do it in front of a fireplace or out on a deck or in a garage, not at the old lady tea station. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, he's a boomer in all sense of the word for optics purposes.
Well,
I think that I forget the lady's name, but the lady that was originally supposed to run, I felt like she had the stronger position in beating Hochul than Blakeman, to be honest with you.
Elise Stefanik.
Yeah, Stefanik.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, why did she drop out?
I want to say that the Trump administration asked her to stay in the House because the House majority is so thin that giving up her House seat would be problematic. And that there wasn't a candidate to step in and fill her shoes that wouldn't be at high risk of losing. Stefanik's been around a ton forever. She was almost appointed to some role in the Trump administration too. Right? Again, I think it was the same issue. The margin of majority for the House Republicans is so small. She was asked to stay in the House.
That makes sense. No, that actually makes sense. I mean, plus there's a bunch of rhinos and other folks that wouldn't want to push any agenda for anything.
it's crazy what we're doing. John Thune is so effing terrible. And then I call him Speaker Micro Johnson because, like, dude just has, like, small dick energy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he has a micro, but what can we say?
So you guys are both smart. What if I have a question? Okay, let's just assume that one of you are running for president then, and Drew doesn't have social media. He doesn't. He's completely dark online. So he's an outlier. A lot of people do have social media. That's what we were talking about before you came on. It's like there's droves of people trying to like leave the country. They're just following whatever TikTok tells them to do. Spending doesn't matter anymore. That's the conclusion, right? Media spending is yesterday's news. So what do? You throw a pool party. What's the plan?
You have to meet people where they are. So, like, right? And some people are almost impossible to reach. But there was a double-blind randomized study done during Rick Perry, the governor of Texas's third candidate run, to measure the effectiveness of all of the different campaign methods. Network and cable ad buys, like TV buys, almost no impact. Radio buys, no impact. Robocalls, negative impact. Telemarketing, negative, like it actually hurts you more than it helps you. Two things that were proved to be effective: mailers, and then by far the most impactful, like actually knocking on doors and holding live events where volunteers or the candidate met people in person. Like it's almost the only way to create the kind of bond, might not be the real word, but like connection between somebody and the voters. That, like, it has to be door knocking. You have to get out and meet people in person.
Yeah, that's what the DSA does. They have an army of allegiant goons, is what I'd call them, knocking on your door, not knowing anything other than the parroted talking points, and they know those talking points inside and out, and they'll die on their sword talking those points. And if they smell that you're not even remotely convertible, they quickly move on.
Yeah. Well, the thing about that is, and this gets to your point about the 5% for the ones who made the revolution happen, right? Which is the reason that the social media is important is that, like, the pool party isn't directed at getting your random nobody voter. It's getting the hardcore volunteer to show up and be motivated, right? Like it takes us. I've watched small groups of people with a dedicated, focused mission change world events. As small as, like, I watched a small Tea Party group in the middle of nowhere with like 25 grandmas change policy worldwide, globe, like take down a whole like crazy UN, USA funded network with just 25 of them, like dedicated, making phone calls, recruiting others. That's what the like social media organizing is about. It's like you find the people who are longing and almost desperate for meaning. You give them something to do that makes them like fulfills that need that they have, which is going to do the kind of like door knocking and other stuff that Drew just talked about. Like all of that grassroots organizing infrastructure has been neglected because Trump almost does it as like a one-man show. He is such a celebrity. He's such a big personality that like he's able to do the work of 200,000 others because he can turn out 70,000 people at a rally in rural Georgia with 2 weeks notice. Like there's no one else coming up who has that kind of power, right? Like no one's turning out to watch JD Vance, right? You're not filling a football stadium in rural Georgia with JD Vance or Marco Rubio. And so you might get a contingent for Rubio. I'm not sure. Vance maybe in the like Appalachia side of town, but yeah. But the thing is, like this on the socialist side, they have like their personality types and celebrity types, or
You can get AOC and Bernie Sanders go anywhere in the world, and they'll have at least 10,000 people coming out just to see what they have to say, even if it's not much.
Yeah, these things are exponential. And I listen, I actually think Marco Rubio's done a fantastic job. I like Marco Rubio. I like JD Vance. I love Governor DeSantis, right? I think we're going to have some interesting candidates. But what I'm talking about is like the actual foot soldier on the ground organizing. Trump,
yeah, the conservatives don't have that at all.
Yeah, no,
they're not equipped to have on the ground ballot harvesting mechanisms like the Democrats do. Though we'll see how many disaffected Democrats there was. I'm just saying, like,
I also I think 2028, right? So like the next presidential cycle is going to be really interesting because like the Trump era comes into an end on the right, and the Democrats are in complete disarray. Like they're also going through this transition period. People are sick of the Chuck Schumers and right like
that was the best thing Trump did, which was promote Zoran Mamdani, because that completely destroyed all of the people that were effectively just never Trumpers. Their policy was, I'm here to fight Trump. So it's like, why don't you go against the person that even hates me more and is more crazier than you?
and Trump also knows his superpower that way. Like that if Trump addresses somebody like as an enemy, that person is now like, it's right out of Rules for Radicals. It's the crazy part, which is like the best way for your candidate or revolutionary to get credibility is for all the right people to hate that person. And so, right, if all of the TV personalities and politicians that everybody is sick of, like, attack somebody, they'll circle around them. So, I don't know. It's a crazy time to be alive. I feel like we're going to see a lot of shit change. And
I was writing down. So I was writing down these notes like, for me, really, because I'm like, okay, paid network, no, robocalls, no, telecom, none. So now we're back to door knocking. I'm like always just really surprised that has so many results. Like I'm surprised by that even still.
It's because the socialists, for the most part, don't have real jobs. They're all like trust fund nepo babies, or that's the truth of the matter. Like the elections in New York, they were won by like between 3 to 7% of the total population per district voting.
Mm-hmm. Nobody has
and the majority. I think they have jobs, but their jobs are literally centered around basically promoting their ideology. It's not actually like beneficial to society and the latest. And I'm sure someone's going to come out of the and say, oh, well, I'm a union worker and I'm a this and I'm a that. I'm like, sure, great. But the bulk of the union worker, like the greatest example is the leaders of the union workers usually vote Democrat or they fund Democrats. But the party itself, the people that are actually in the unions always lean conservative. That's just a given.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you reminded me the guy I was talking about in Michigan's 7th district. The reason this guy's scary is he's one of the co-founders of the Sunrise Movement. The Sunrise Movement,
I hate that. I know all about them, yeah.
is exactly what Drew was talking about as far as these like paid protester groups that, right, Soros and the left and USAID funded bigly, right? Crazy amounts of money come into it. And they're professional protesters / organizers, right? Like they have made serious investment in this kind of infrastructure, and the right doesn't do it. And it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, it's because they're backed by literal, like, beyond just U.S. aid. They're backed by like our adversaries, like Neville Singham from China. He funds a lot of this stuff that comes around here, and I don't know how much more noise Alex and George like allocates, but Alex has been becoming kind of the new face. George is kind of sunsetting himself, and Alex has been committing himself to whatever their evil schemes are. I don't even know what they are. I don't even know what their actual plan is, but it's never ends up well.
It's actually crazy. Like, so the Soros stuff, the district attorneys, the lawfare that we experienced, like that was a 20-year plan in the making. Also worth noting that Alex Soros married Huma Abedin, who was Anthony Weiner's
wife, yep.
And Hillary Clinton's like axwoman. Like, dude, fiercest political operatives on either side of the party in a long time. So it's it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I hope that the people who have their hearts and minds in the right place stop wasting their money on a bunch of these idiots who buy stupid shit. Like if you spent let's say 10% of the 90 million against El Sayed on door knockers and like that kind of organizing instead of just buying television ads, I guarantee you he won't be winning right now. Right? If you did the actual opposition research and then sent people around community, that
I don't know, man. I heard if you hire Beyonce, you might win.
yeah. How'd that work?
Probably Taylor Swift.
Swift. Yeah, I don't know.
So
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I completely agree with what you're saying. The issue is you kind of want that Syed guy to win so that whoever they're running on the conservative side actually has a real chance of beating him, because the truth of the matter is you want the crazier candidate out there because then you get the moderate vote. And then the socialists don't want the moderate vote because they're basically saying we don't want the moderate candidate because why pander to the moderates?
Well, the Michigan Senate seat's one that I honestly believe we should have won many times. But like I've done a lot of work in Michigan. It's a very interesting state because you have Detroit as like the central urban hub, but completely like run down. Then you have, I call them rurburbs, which is like rural suburbs. Like surrounding that, and then you have the big college campus populations, which are crazy liberal in Ann Arbor. What's interesting about Michigan is the Republican Party there has been dysfunctional for a long time. The Senate candidate who's going to win from the right is Mike Rogers, a very solid, run-of-the-mill, non-controversial type, which would not fare well against another like non-controversial type from the left, but against somebody like El Sayed, I think he'll do very well. I think Michigan in a Rogers-El Sayed matchup probably goes to the Republicans, and if the Republicans win Michigan, they'll retain control of the Senate.
Yeah, and that's been the plan. It's basically to bankrupt the middle of the road, and I say that in air quotes, Democrats. I don't think any of them are the middle of the roads. They're just not as far left as their competition. That's what it seems to me. Because I've had personal conversations with a number of candidates in New York City before the last election cycle, and their actual views are pretty similar to each other in terms of just installing socialism and their beliefs in Karl Marx and yada, 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 yada. I don't know. I guess when you hold a government job your whole life and never created any value, this is basically what you get.
Well, watching them eat their own is one of my favorite things, which is
me too.
The thing about like purity tests, like the party purity tests, like that are straight out of like Orwell's 84, is it eventually always comes for you, right? Like the circle has to continue contracting until eventually, like Chuck Schumer isn't liberal enough. He
was never liberal enough, but he endorsed every single one of the candidates that are now eating him. I literally watched him at a swearing-in ceremony for one of it was Kristen Gonzalez or whatever for Astoria, and I shit you not, halfway through his speech, he like crumpled it up and said, "I got to talk from my heart. We got to go after the MAGA Republicans." And I'm sitting around looking around like, this is Astoria, Queens. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Where's
the enemy here?
Yeah, like. Maybe he was talking about me because I wouldn't have voted for the dude, but like he didn't know that. It was very odd. Like I really do believe TDS is an actual mental issue because I've seen people bring up Trump on things that doesn't even need Trump to be brought up on, and I don't know. I didn't even start off like a big Trump guy, but after defending him millions and millions of times over the numerous lies against him, I ended up actually kind of liking him because I'm like, you know what? I wish he was like this crazy dictator dude rounding everyone up and has all these crazy things happening because he's not doing any of these things that these people are claiming.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. Be careful what you accuse, right? I also would be fine electing somebody who actually did the things that they're scared of, right? Like there's a lot of these people that I think I'd be fine with the military rounding up all the people who censored us, for example.
The vaccines too. I didn't take it.
Have you guys, Dana? Did you see any of the Fauci hearing stuff, or the Fauci diary stuff?
No, I didn't know that was. I mean, I read some there were some posts about that coming out recent. Is that all out now?
Yeah. So Rand Paul got a hold of Anthony Fauci's diary. That
oh my God, he's so evil.
Recording on his government computer or whatever. Oh, and it's so bad. And then the people in the street just started shouting my name, and it crazy.
Can you give me a summary of what was he writing from first person or
find somebody who loves you as much as Anthony Fauci loves himself. That's the moral of the story.
That's great. I didn't realize people still write diaries at that age. I just know he kept pleading the fifth on pretty much everything, and he didn't really want to talk about anything because he knows what he did. He knows what he did in the 80s with the HIV epidemic.
Well, remember Biden gave him a sweeping, overwhelming pardon, and what's frustrating about that is if you really were this kind of scientist that you claim you are, science is all about having a hypothesis, testing it until it's disproven, and then creating a new hypothesis, right? Clearly, what happened with COVID was put the nicest possible, the hypothesis of what they were doing was disproven. And to study it, you should be very open and talk about all of the ways that you guys screwed up. We're not having that at all. In fact, I saw Justin Trudeau try to claim that oh no, we never demanded people locked down.
Yeah, he did. Get officers, get armed going after people going to church.
Yeah. It's crazy. They're just literally trying to gloss it over. The scary thing about that is it just happens again. The censorship, the attacks against the RFK. This is another thing worth watching. I saw last couple of days. My boy RFK Jr. shredding Dana Bash on CNN.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, that was great.
Brutal, incredibly good. But that's why the media has kind of lost the credibility. That's why people are tuning them out. So that's the just read one though.
Is this real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a great call with Barbara Streisand. She called my cell at 6:05 p.m. They're all like this. She's recently had zoster with lesion, post neuralgia down her leg. She wanted to know if it was okay to get the mRNA vaccine. I told her yes. We then started discussing life in general. No, it sounds like he loves having some sort of input on people's lives and being God.
It's all name dropping. Maybe the craziest one was I talked to Governor Newsom's wife, who asked me if we should close the school.
Later. Okay, go ahead. I can't even read this.
Yeah, no. Again, bragging about closing schools, about the failed vaccine.
I mean, he's not the only one. I mean, the head of health for New York City was having sex parties and telling people to stay 6 feet away from each other while having sex parties, and he admitted this on a private camera. So these people are just control freaks at the end of the day.
I don't know, the vindication for Kyrie Irving and Aaron Rodgers is also kind of crazy. They made Kyrie Irving sit at only play in New York. Kyrie Irving couldn't play home games because of the COVID crazy.
No, I know. He couldn't play home games, but the other team who had players that weren't vaccinated could play.
Yeah, I remember that.
It made absolutely no sense, and they were just blaming Kyrie, and it's yeah, that ruined the Nets team for sure. They would have been a really good team if they had their chemistry going, but COVID cursed the Nets. What can I say?
But also one of my favorite cheap person stories, which was I was at a Nike store, when all this went down, and they dropped the price of the Kyrie shoes 99% because they're just we're done with the fact the anti-vax guy. So I picked up 8 pairs in every color. It's fucking awesome.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, his shoes are actually really good, to be honest with you. He has like the Kyrie 4s, the Kyrie 2s, and 3s those are great sneakers. I don't like the Infinities because I tore my ACL in them, but yeah, those are good.
I actually wear these around like pretty regularly, but no, like I don't know. We saw vindication for that. Then with did you see the in and out shooting stuff?
Yeah, I heard about it. I didn't keep in touch with that. I mainly look at like financial markets for my news feeds and world news as well.
Huge Second Amendment guy, core to my messaging to people.
I believe in the Second Amendment too. So
as banks go to like put your range time in. So in Idaho, there's a mass shooting that's starting at an In-N-Out Burger. Concealed carry permit holder stops it, and an off-duty police officer stop it, like in its tracks, kill the shooter. What's wild about it, there's two pictures that I saw side by side of that were so cool. So the hero 2 years ago, like to the day on Facebook, had put up a Facebook post of him at the range, like practicing with like train every day, like everybody's life might depend on it because one day it might. And then 2 years to the day or whatever, like he stops a mass shooting. Like, incredible.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
So just good reminder for all my patriots, go out, put your range time in, right? Do some range therapy, put some shells through. So.
That's a message I can definitely get behind, and also work out in general. You want to be in shape.
Well, that's one I gotta get my fat ass up and moving. It's funny.
Yeah, I work out every day.
We're gonna have Misha on. Every time we have Misha on, I feel like I'm like, God, like he eats so good. I like live on Red Bull and cigarettes, and I really gotta get my shit together.
No,
like,
you should.
It's hard to prioritize health. What do you guys think of? Do you know what deuterium depleted water is? Because I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know what it is, but apparently it's good for me. This is
never heard of that.
No. Okay, we have
no.
back on. Drew can come too. I'll talk about it and see if this is a fad or.
Wait, there's
a lot of water fads. There's a lot of water fads, but some are good and some are bad.
Florida.
What?
Is this someone you met in Florida?
No. This is like actually a good friend of mine was ordering it. She ended up passing away from cancer, but she was getting it for like many years ago for cancer because there's a lot of studies that show that it helps stop the cell from replicating, like the cancer cell from replicating.
How long did she have cancer for? Just out of curiosity.
She was a CNN reporter, and she got it not for a long period of time. This was before all the vaccines and everything. She didn't get any of that. But she was like reporting in like war zones. She was exposed to a lot of stuff. And then she got it just really aggressively. But, like there maybe if she just caught it a little sooner, we could have gotten it under control. But this was one of the things that she was doing. It's hard to know like what actually was helping, and then what are you just like throwing the kitchen sink at to try to be healthy? Like, really know. But I'm not doing it for cancer. I'm trying to just like get my energy up and like, like be able to think well and stuff. But it's supposed to help.
I do the citrulline, the arginine, pycenogenol. Those are like the uppers that I would do for energy.
Yeah, you're into all this stuff. I met Drew. Speaking of fashion, Drew was wearing probably those shoes you guys were talking about. He had like a spacesuit outfit on. No, you're wearing like a space outfit on at the President's Club in New York. Like, yeah. You were talking about your, some other products and stuff.
Yeah. Cannabis beverage brand, Hightails brand, and then it's called our flagship product called Black Market. It's a THC with kombucha, lion's mane mushrooms, mixed berry blend, low sugar, low calorie. Yeah, I own various random businesses and worked very hard to achieve what I've got. No, nothing was ever given to me.
Very cool.
I told you that I saw your production facility in Florida, like randomly. So another guy that we had on the show, Dustin, he was doing he had another meeting at this brewery place, and they had it closed down, but they just like had a meeting. And in the back, I saw your product, and I was like, what's going on here? And then I also saw some of the wines that they made, or like liquor from, some Trump liquor that I texted to you, Dustin. But it's like everybody is kind of in the same like little bubble that are all like doing stuff. And then everyone else is just getting paid to protest, which, by the way, I used to work on Capitol Hill. And I mean, this was right after college for like a very short period of time for Saxby Chambliss. And I remember walking in, I might have told you this story, Dustin. I remember walking in, seeing all these people protesting, and the chief of staff that I was with looked over at one of the girls, and she was like, what the fuck are you doing? Get to work. What are you doing out here? She had like taken off and then clearly had been paid to go protest right outside of Capitol Hill.
Oh yeah. It's I'll never forget. I had a meeting at like the Fox building. I don't know why I had a meeting there, but it was whatever. And they just had people there the whole time, just standing there with signs saying how bad Fox News was. And then I asked them, like, is there a group at CNN? And they're like, oh, we're working on that for next week.
Yeah.
Is in the mail.
Yeah.
Madness.
So this is just all a charade. Like basically we're being told to on, all the apps, TikTok or whatever. And then in person, we're also being sold to.
It's all manufactured. It's all manufactured nonsense. I mean, I noticed in Union Square now, if you ever go down there on Thursdays and Fridays, they have like a big Dawah group, which is like the Islamic evangelism. I'm pretty well versed in certain things, so I go over there, I talk to the guy, whatever. Turns out the guy's like connected to several terrorist organizations, and I kind of scratch my head, like, how do they get away with this stuff?
Well, it's right.
Wow.
That doesn't have social media. I've been doing a bunch of. I haven't been doing like I cold cut X out. I've been reflecting on like what I'm doing with my time online, and what I realized is X is not Twitter in a bad way. Like for me, Twitter was cool because like I was connected to connected to thousands of journalists and like the leaders of companies, and like I used it as the curation for like how I knew what was happening in the world. Now it's like the same stupid cat videos and like fight videos. Like
it depends on your algorithm. You can readjust it. Like mine is just a bunch of communists complaining, to be honest with you, and my local politicians. So I have one form of social media, and it's basically just to shit on my local politicians primarily. I'm not gonna release the name because then they'll know who it is. But you can
an anon account like that.
Yeah, anon accounts are great. Anon accounts are great. It's we have the liberty to do that here, but in London and England and in Europe, they're trying to crack down on that stuff, which is ridiculous when you think about it. Like the internet is a public free tool. Why do you need to attach someone's user identification to that?
The digital ID scare is coming, right? And it's worse than people think. Like the loss of privacy and anonymity. One of these days, Dana will talk about the flock cameras too, right? That under the guise of like stopping crime,
safety,
that we're allowing them to install the Big Brother surveillance state in ways that maybe the worst effects are 10, 15 years down the road, but the only time to stop it was probably yesterday. That once this monstrosity is installed, it won't be long before your social credit score is tied to every action that is tracked through all of the basically global CCTV network that's Yep.
You know, they have an open air channel that you can watch all the CCTV camera footage like right now. You just need to have an ASDC 3.0 or an ASTC 2.0. They openly air it because it's for some reason on a publicly available channel, but you can like watch TV, and the TV channel will be the actual CCTV footage of the current comings and goings of people. It's actually pretty funny.
Well, the thing is that wasn't a problem when you like, because like, listen, I've watched that shit. It's boring, right? And like, it wasn't.
It is
really
boring
when you had to have a human, right? Like go and like watch the foot. But now AI can mass review all of that stuff, and we really get into the like Minority Report / Orwell type, like.
No, AI is wrong. That's the other thing. AI is not like omnipotent in the most efficient way. I mean, right now you can get a ticket for having your license plate to the right bumper or left bumper because it's designed only to look for the middle of the car. So, I mean, obviously, can we refine it? Sure, but there'll be more mistakes. Trust me, there'll be way more mistakes than anything else.
But what I'm saying is, as people don't want Big Brother surveillance state, we have to take those mistakes like and use them as the reason for us to be able to like stop the installation of all this shit.
Oh, I agree.
Because
I mean,
catch up. And like I have, as part of the like security stuff I do, I have access to like some of the facial recognition stuff that's already available privately. It's like it's actually kind of insane. Like your ability to track somebody is.
I know. I have a cyber security company too. I know. I know exactly what you're talking about. There are ones that are really good, but those are not the ones that the government's ever going to be mass deploying.
But I would say that there are government agencies that like.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's just those are never going to be those are not going to be the standard generalized model. I mean, right now there's guys in Texas that are getting tickets from the flock cameras, and they're not even in Texas.
Yeah, listen. I'm less worried about some of that as I am the full right. Like it's not the current makeup that worries me. Oh, that's sweet.
Thanks, Kathy.
You know what worries me is what happens when these like Thanksgiving hating commies are in power and all this surveillance apparatus. Like history has shown us what they'll use. Like they will use it to enforce the party line and whatever the current narrative is. Like
Dustin,
I'm wondering though, I think this is already happening. Are we already getting our social credit affected? Because mine dipped a little bit recently, and I'm just like, I didn't do anything. Like
my credit doesn't exist.
Let me tell you what happened. My bank has an automatic payment. Okay, it's automatic every month. So suddenly they updated their software or whatever. So it's like, oh yeah, sorry, I went in and I'm like, hey, my credit dipped a little, no big deal. I guess I can wait it out. But like, why? Like I have automatic payment on it. And they said, well, because like the bank had an update and now you need to like sign up for it again. I'm like, okay, but like it's a little bit out of my control. I mean, imagine all the different situations that they can do and then just say like, well, whatever, like it's the software, it's AI.
Well, like so the traditional credit, and I have all kinds of issues with that. But imagine it's, and we already are getting right. The algorithms are teaching us what we're supposed to care about. Like it's far more behavioral modification based on society, like peer pressure and societal pressure, than it is like naturally interacting with people. We're put in compartments, so right, like they compartmentalize us down with other people, and then you are rewarded with engagement based on whether or not the things that you are saying are in a line with the like. So for example, if you come out extremely hard against NGOs and government spending or
What are you talking about? I love Monsanto. Monsanto's great.
Yep,
Excellent.
or pharma or energy.
Love all those.
All of your engagement goes down. Now, if you pick the right cause, like, I don't know, socialist grocery stores, right? And you're complaining about the things they want you to complain. Now it feels like you are getting rewarded by the people around you because they're showing your stuff to more people and allowing for the engagement.
Well, that's what Harry Sisson does. I mean, he says literally the same post 100 times over about different topics, but he'll say like the same 10 words. It's like Trump bad because blah, blah, blah. And he'll get like 1 million views for it.
but that's it's the artificial boosting plus the censorship is genuinely like it's mass behavioral modification. And like what I find funny about Flock calling themselves Flock is like they're literally calling us sheep, right? Like
for sure,
the sheep, and like it's almost too like on point for like exactly what they're doing and what they are. But when that expands, and for example, like, oh, I'm sorry, Dustin, like, right, like I go to like buy some flour, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, Dustin, you criticized women having men in like trannies in women's sports, so therefore you're only allowed to buy the bug flour, like cricket flour for you this month.
Well, that's the London model. You know, if you say anything disparaging, that's not even you can't even be pro England. You automatically become like a terrorist sympathizer for some reason, despite all of their bombings not being a British citizen for the most part in the last like 20 years. So yeah, it's kind of scary world when you think about that. Makes me want to buy an island in the middle of nowhere and not do anything weird.
I'm serious. I want to do that. I want to get an island with a bunch of cool people.
Compound.
Yeah.
We have our own social credit score.
Yes. What would the qualifications to get on the island have to be?
You need to be a contributor. You need to, not, I don't know. I think like less requirements than more. The thing is like the requirements for someone who kind of is outside of the typical like norm is a little bit hard to classify. It's more about the nots than the R's, because then typically that person is naturally a contributor and somebody who is more of a creator versus the consumer, complainer, victim mentality.
Yeah.
It's hard to sort that, right? Because like I would be like one of the things that would come to my mind would be like fully vaccinated, boosted, obvious no, right? Like
yeah. Well, because of what it indicates as well. It's
right,
like,
but then I think of like there's people I know who took one vaccine or got like the double vaccine, who that was their like awakening moment. Like we want to encourage people to like break from the mindset.
Of course.
Like if it were up to me, you would be disqualified for running for any public office if you push the vaccine publicly in any way. You would be barred from the airways, like CNN, MSNBC. If you were one of the people who tried to coerce people into taking the vaccine or pushing lockdowns, automatic disqualification. Like you should not be put in a position of leadership if you failed like that badly. So
I can stand behind that, but the problem is it was such a great and effective campaign, propaganda, and just mass psychosis to believing that this product is a one size fit all thing for the first time in the history of human science for some reason or another. With somehow no side effects and everything else, that a lot of people were kind of doped into believing that it would work.
That's
so
true.
obviously now that we know the data, now that we know that the science is, there is an increased risk in getting myocarditis. I was telling people about that since like the 6th month in. I was looking at the data. That's why I told you, Dana, about NAC and acetylcysteine, and that's what made me realize that was, for me, in my opinion, the best way to combat it. If you feel like you were coming down with some type of symptoms, you take that 2 times a day for the first like 72 hours, you end up not developing any symptoms and you get over it. People could say I'm wrong, but the science I've read and is publicly available says that I'm correct. But point being, yeah, there are a lot of people that kind of came out of this misery of hypnosis, and there should be a place for those people.
Right, but it should be a place like both my brothers held out for more than a year, and then ended up like giving it one because he was a government employee who they were forcing him to do the PCR.
It was either your livelihood or your health.
And
Yeah.
he has blood clot issues for the first time in his life since getting it.
Yeah, that's not good.
My other brother held out a year and then gave in so he could take an international trip, and also has had health related problems since. And so there was, for the people who held out, people forget how much coercion there was.
Oh no, it killed my uncle, like straight up. Whoa, it straight up killed my uncle. Like blood clot in the brain, died.
Sad.
So yeah.
Sorry to hear that. I
I
don't want to let these people off, right? Like when I see these people still in the media, it infuriates me that like there have been no consequences. There were people who showed incredible and courageous leadership in standing up against probably the most expensive propaganda campaign of all time. If the people who withstood that, like the frontline doctors, there were lots of people who sacrificed heavily for telling the truth in the face of all of that. Those people should be elevated. The other people, I'm not saying that I want to hold it against you or I want to send you to prison or that you are malicious. I'm just saying you don't deserve like a promotion after.
Oh, I agree. But don't forget, they wanted to send people like us to prison for not taking it because we were not doing the common good, which is an odd thing to say.
Yeah, somehow me not being vaccinated was killing your family member.
Yeah, it's like I didn't even have COVID, so how could I be the one infecting you?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we should probably call that a wrap. It's been about an hour.
Yeah.
Drew, you need
No,
to come back
fun.
on again.
Yeah, Drew,
Yeah,
great having you on.
yeah. I'm happy to do it anytime. Happy to talk about anything. And don't follow me in real life because I don't have any social media.
You can't.
Well,
Yeah.
Good luck finding him.
Michigan.
What did you say, Dustin?
Watch the election results tonight. Michigan, Wisconsin, a bunch of other states. Like
Before you jump up, what's your prediction for the results for tonight?
so,
Just curious.
I think El Sayed wins big, and it's a Syed Rogers matchup in Michigan. I think it's going to be very close for Hong in Wisconsin. I'm not sure she's going to win. Might be like,
I think she blew it in those last 3 interviews.
yeah, it was not very strong work. I think generally, though, I think the Republicans have a huge problem. I don't see people engaged, and I don't
No.
see Mike Johnson and John Thune being worth people. It's not that most of the Republicans won't vote. It's that they're not going to go door knock. They're not going to go do a bunch of other stuff if it's to promote people like John Thune and Mike Johnson. Like that, the Republicans are not offering us something that like we can be excited and get behind. Basically, they're just saying like the Democrats are awful and evil, and
Yeah, they're running the Trump is bad playbook, but in reverse. Socialists are bad. You gotta show them why. And Kathy, I appreciate the kind words, and I'm sorry about having to take this thing with your family. I mean, hopefully you got the only one that I heard that did the least damage was the Johnson & Johnson one, which is why they pulled it because it didn't really do much. But there was its issues within that. But the mRNA was like the worst one out of all of them. But yeah,
I'm so sorry. It's so sad. Like,
yeah.
we're not even really going to know what's for the future either for another like 10 years.
Yeah, but we have to keep tracking and tracing and seeing the the effects of this human trial on a mass scale, you know?
Yeah, those diary journals, like, I'm going to watch the elections as well, but I mean, you guys are more in tune with that than me, but I'm going to go look at the diary journals just to like
Might
Maybe
know.
you'll get some inspiration.
I mean, what kind of like narcissistic nonsense is this? I was looking at more of them when you guys were just like talking about
No,
I probably shouldn't look at them. They're horrifying.
listen, I got shout out Jen because it's one of these things where Jen's like, you have to see the Fauci stuff. I'm like, I don't want to look at it. But no,
I love Jen. So Jen's Dustin's wife. She needs to come back on too, and she has some time.
yeah,
Well, shout out to Jan.
she's also like a New Yorker. So like, but it's one of those things where like, God damn, every time she tells me to look at something, I roll my eyes. It's gonna be like when I eventually look at it, I'm like, my bad. Like, because it really, you're right. The narcissism is that enough. Like that man bought. I think Governor DeSantis like drank his own Kool-Aid. Is how Governor DeSantis put it. I think that's well said. Like,
Yeah.
I'm convinced that he was science. And
He did say he was the science. I think he said that was like an actual quote of his.
it was.
I am the science. That should be.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that was a quote somewhere.
I am.
What a psycho!
Tens of millions of people died as a result.
Like that. Well, you know, it really does take someone who's just that sick to pull that off. Like they have to be just mentally deranged, and you know, because it's horrifying. Like you can't not be.
He is mentally deranged. He had sandflies eat the eyes of beagle puppies. I mean, we already know what they.
He also did the same thing with HIV, like almost identical what he did with HIV.
Oh yeah,
he did with COVID, like back in the 80s. One of these days, Dana, remind me. I'll invite Dr. Mikovits on.
Oh yeah, that I would be.
He infected orphan kids. He would prescribe them drugs that were infected with HIV, and the drugs were known to not work. They would all die horribly.
It's what happened with the people who are given remdesivir, like in the early days, right? Like it's crazy what was done to us at a scale that's almost unimaginable. And like if I have one frustration, it's that like I don't think it'll ever come under Trump because like he was kind of involved in a lot of this stuff. I don't think he was the bad guy, but like I don't think he's eager to like, because I think they'll try to turn it into a blame Trump for all of it. We've already
it will always be blame Trump for all of it. So
but we also can't just let it go, which is like if there's not accountability, if we don't continue to study and track this stuff, the next experiment on us will be 10 times worse. And
yeah, I believe that.
I agree. I mean, the thing is, he was in a rock and a hard place. He had to create some type of assurance for the public safety. But the way Joe Biden, like, he created it. He gets the credit for that. But the way Joe Biden handled the pandemic is what caused what we have today. If we kind of left policies of take it if you think you need it, or don't take it if you think you don't need it, none of this stuff would have been the case. I think the people that actually needed it, and the rest of the population that knew that they didn't need it wouldn't have had it.
Well, that's also, by the way, in the Fauci diaries. So like one of the other interesting things, and RFK points this out in the Dana Bash segment, is that Trump was asking, was regularly, daily, telling Fauci that the lockdown policies needed to end, and they went on for another, and the schools needed to reopen. They went on for another year and a half under Biden, and the damage that was done to students and to get, we're never going to be able to fully measure the cost of all of that, right? Like just in the development lost, and it's crazy. But I'm glad we bring this up and talk about it every once in a while. right? Like, it's not something I'm gonna hammer on every day. I appreciate the people who do, but like, I'm also not willing to let it go. And
No, I'm not. I believe in freedom and liberty, and that shit was not freedom nor liberty.
all right, I'm gonna call that a night.
You got it.
Bye, you
Thanks,
guys.
There you
See
go.
you soon.